Now, hunger is a form of lack. You don't have the adequate nutrition that your body needs. You know, most people have never fasted, so most people have never actually made the distinction between the different types of hunger. You know, there is a hunger where you just desire taste. You're craving to taste something. That is actually not hunger. There is a very fleeting hunger, and if you fast for any length of time, you know about this, that even though hunger may come, you feel like you need to eat something, as long as you don't obsess about it, it goes away. It actually dissipates almost instantly. But there is another kind of hunger, and that is the kind of hunger where you are not absorbing nutrients. And you know, when I used to have my clinic, when people would come in, you know, one of the things I specialized in was eating disorders. And so when people would come in, very often, for example, people who were struggling with weight problems, and let me say this, weight problems are nearly never a matter of too many calories. And the people who try to solve weight problems by how many calories I take in versus how many calories I burn, that person will never ever permanently solve that weight issue. But so many of the people that would come in that had weight issues were people that were not absorbing nutrition. Therefore, they always felt hungry. They always felt a need to eat. They always felt some kind of lack. And so the problem wasn't how much they were eating. The problem was how much they were not digesting. So Jesus, he comes to the end of this fast. Now his body is saying, I got to have something to eat. Now I'm telling you, if you've ever fasted for prolonged periods of time, you know what that feels like, where your body starts saying, it is time for you to eat. If you go any farther in this, you're going to be doing yourself damage. So stop and think. There is a need. There is a lack there. So we understand this. You know, we've been taught that the devil just attacks us, that he puts thoughts and temptations into our mind and makes us want things. Well, no, you can't really prove that anywhere in the Bible. Temptation does not start with the devil. Temptation starts with our desires. And once we have a desire, very specifically, once we have a feeling of lack, we are going to go one of two ways to fulfill that. We're either going to trust God, we're going to walk with God, we're going to believe God, we're going to connect with God, we're going to follow God's wise plan, or we're going to go do this through some means of gratifying the flesh and self-centeredness. But in this original temptation, first the lack came, and then, you know, it's really interesting because then, you know, Satan quoted a scripture to him, and he said, look, if you're the Son of God, turn these stones into bread. Now, would there have been any sin in turning stones into bread? No. As a matter of fact, just stop and think. It wasn't long after that till Jesus multiplied fish and loaves of bread so that thousands of people could eat, because there was a need, because there was lack there. But so what would have made it sin? What would have made it wrong for Jesus to have turned stones into bread? Because the basis of the temptation was, if you're really who you say you are. In other words, do you believe you are who God says you are? I got news for you. Every time you face a temptation, that's the real question. Is God who he says he is, and are you who he says you are? Because if you are who he says you are, then you know he has already taken care of this need.